To find the truth here, look no further than the rafters. These banners don't lie. They hang proudly. A keen reminder of past glory. A heavy hint of the yearly expectation. Today, their nemesis pays them a visit. Confident, assured, sporting a champion swagger, with no intention of ceding any turn in the battle between dynasties past and present.
All eyes in the wrestling world on Carver Hawkeye Arena, the house that Dan Gable built. Fans coming in, and if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a seat. It's been sold out for 2 months. It's wrestling on BTN, presented by Cliff King Athletic, where tonight the #1 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes host the #2 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Hello everyone, I'm Tim Johnson along with my partner, national champion, coach and wrestler Jim Gibbons. And Jim, it's rare air when you have #1 versus #2. And Penn State and Iowa, it's only happened twice.
Well, you know, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be as special if you didn't have this crowd. As you mentioned, they got their tickets 2 months ago. You know, they've been here really an hour ahead of time, but they've been waiting 10 years for a national championship and to dethrone these Nittany Lions because they've been outstanding over the last 10 years.
All matches count. One of the big matches, though, is #1 versus #2. Alex Marinelli at 2 versus the 2-time NCAA champion Vincenzo Joseph at #1.
Yeah, 165. This is really going to be a Donnybrook when you take a look at these guys. Joseph, the 3-time finalist. Marinelli, though, has been the kryptonite here for Joseph in the last 2 times they've met. As we look at the video of these 2 guys wrestling out, it's all about the inside trip in this position right here. This is where Joseph won 2 national titles, but Marinelli being in this position has dominated it and able to get back points in the duel at State College last year. And then again in the Big Ten championships. Notice again, critical time in the match here. Instead of bringing his hips to the party, little savvy there with Joseph's inside trip and rotates back down and gets the back points once again. That's been the difference between those 2 guys at this weight class here is that big move, that big situation. We'll probably see it again.
Starting lineups brought to you by Defense Soap. Defend what you have built on the web at defensesoap.com. We're going to start at 125, and the Spencer Lee effect have been huge for Iowa at 133. Everybody's waiting for RBY versus Austin DeSanto. 141, Nick Lee, #2 ranked for Nittany Lions, going up against Carter Happel. And at 149, #3, Pat Lugo for the Hawkeyes, going up against Fairclear and Gardner. Then at 157, Caleb Young for the Hawkeyes versus Bo Pfeiffer for the Nittany Lions.
And we mentioned 165 with that battle with the national champion, but another Penn State national champion is Mark Hall at 74, going against Michael Kemmerer, 1 versus 3. The 2 freshmen in the lineup there, Brooks and Assad, also looking ahead to Nevels and Cassiope, 2 talented freshmen, and Shakur Rashid, all the way down to 15th in the rankings right now, but you know the talent that he has going against #4 ranked Jacob Warner. It's going to be a great one.
It is going to be a great one, and Iowa has had a lot of success in their home. 259-25 all-time at Carver Hawkeye. Penn State won the last 2 meetings at Iowa. Packed house. Tom Brand, Bobby Telford, former All-American, now assistant coach. And it is something else in here, Jim. This is a tough place to compete. You did it as a coach and as an athlete.
Well, competing in Iowa City, a lot of national champions have gone down over the years, but, you know, this is a confident group that comes in here, this Nittany Lion group, and led by a couple of champions in Hall and Joseph. But, you know, the question is, can anybody win more than 3 matches against this talented and well-balanced Hawkeye team? I think they'd be very happy. Iowa comes in here probably a, 13 to 21 point favorite,
Let's start at 125. There's Spencer Lee, the junior, 2-time NCAA champion, leads the way every time out, going up against Brandon Meredith, freshman, 11-8, stepping in for the Nittany Lions. Jim, Spencer Lee, ranked #1, undefeated, never has been beaten at Carver Hawkeye. He leads the team with energy and with performance.
Yeah, he's the guy that really gets it going. And like Coach Gable mentioned, A little bit surprised that they decided to go at 25, so got to kind of believe that this is exactly where Tom Brands and the Hawkeyes wanted to start this meet.
Brandon Meredith, there you're looking at him from Limerick, Pennsylvania, redshirt freshman, aerospace engineer major. There's a good look at Spencer Lee. He's the energy for the Hawkeyes, redshirt junior. He's just a junior. Two-time junior world and cadet world champion. And here we go.
Oh, right into a takedown there. He's got that cross-arm tilt. Here's he's getting back points almost immediately.
And he has gotten so many tech falls, but I have a feeling here he is saying, I'm going to get those arm bars running, and I want to pin.
Nice job of Meredith basically getting off his back in that situation. Tight waist ride.
There's only 2-point near fall on the board. There, and so it was just 2 counts by the official. Spencer Lee 15-0 in Carver Hawkeye. Only one time this year, Fabian Gutierrez from Chattanooga, only one wrestler has gone the distance with Spencer Lee, and that was Spencer Lee's first match of the year.
Yeah, tough start here for Meredith, but you know, now he's got that headgear around his eyes almost, and that's from the grinding that Lee has already put on him here with his forehead down the mat. So now he gives up that stall warning. You know, that's a tough call in the bottom position right there, because Lee's parallel. I'm not saying he's not successful with what he does there right there. He's got a great tight waist ride, and now he's switching off sides a little bit. On his feet, hits that high crotch again, then comes back up for the waist ride right there, and then Meredith bails on it.
Lee out front, 6-0, 2 takedowns, a near fall, looking to tilt and get the 4 count, which he will this time. That's 4 more points on the board, 10-1.
Yeah, he's the best in the country, Tim, at loading up the hips off of that tilt. You see why. Just so good when he commits to it, and actually gets it done quite a bit right off the takedown.
Spencer Lee, one of 5 Pennsylvania athletes on the team. Murraysville, Pennsylvania, Franklin Regional. He's made a huge impact on this program. The culture, the performance, the Spencer Lee effect.
Yeah, I'd say that you know, Iowa's always had the culture, but he's been the guy that's kind of been able to go ahead and he's just such a calm influence out there. I mean, off the mat. Now he gets that bar tilt right there with the wrist. Not enough to maybe pin him, but he's got to start maybe thinking about that extra team point you get in a situation like this.
4 more points. It is now 14-1. When you get up 15 points, the match is terminated. That's 5 points on the board. 3 points for a regular decision, 4 points major decision.
He looked over to his corner, Tom and Terry Brands, and a lot of maybe thoughts about getting more of a pinning combination as opposed to a tilt for that extra team point. But you know, with one more tilt, he gets off the mat in the first period. So I could see him just going ahead and doing that and keeping the momentum going, keeping this crowd into it.
Undefeated in Big Ten duels and Carver Hawkeye Arena. Spencer Lee for the Hawks out fast in this first period. A 2-point tilt would end the match before the end of the first period.
Really hammering down hard with that tight waist ride.
And Meredith is going to do something that not a lot of opponents has done with Spencer Lee, and that's make it through the first. And our state of success, tonight's State Farm state of success is Spencer Lee. And Jim, maybe Meredith should be one of very few that got out of the first period.
We talked about that before the open here, that if Meredith gets into the second period, he's a runner-up for the State Farm state of success.
And that's Spencer Lee tonight. State Farm, state of success. Start on their feet. Spencer Lee looking for a takedown, which would end it. And he's trying to think about something that could take him to the back. And there's the 2. The crowd comes to their feet. And Spencer Lee says, well, I've given you 5. The winner by technical fall. Number 1 ranked and undefeated, Spencer Lee.
Comes back to a very pleased Tom Brands there, you know. Look at this intensity between these two.
You've talked about it, Jim.
Yeah.
All you got to do, if we got a camera on Spencer Lee later, he'll be back right there behind the chairs, cheering on his teammates the entire match.
Yeah.
133. A lot of people have been waiting for this one. RBY, Roman Bravo Young, the sophomore, up against the junior, Austin DeSanto. Wrestled a couple times. DeSanto's 2-0 against him. Got a little closer at the NCAAs last year than it did the first matchup. The RBY undefeated. The only loss that DeSanto has is against Seth Gross, the national champion, who he beat earlier in the year.
Yeah, 1-1 against a returning national champion. DeSanto has really picked up his intensity this year and attack rate, really back in on the shot right away. Now he's coming out the back door. You see where RBY is like to go ahead. He likes to go ahead that near ankle. Actually, he likes to get to the far ankle. He's locked up a cradle. And the referee stopped it. Wow. He got caught. Didn't really get a good look at that. I was focusing so much on Roman Bravo Young's counter there that something happened at the face level there. Let's take a look at it here. Keep an eye on the face of DeSanto. Inside, right there. I don't understand that stoppage.
Yeah, I don't either. It was locked up.
Inexplicable stoppage there. And maybe he caught him in the eyes there when he went for the cradle. Really? That's could be a yeah, they're looking at his knee now.
His knee that popped. And his facial reaction was just...
Now a team point has been deducted for in the Iowa corner, it looks like.
Look at RBY there, the sophomore.
Yeah, let's take another look at that. So maybe get a better look at that right knee, see what happened there. So he came out with the, yeah, you can see where that may have occurred. See the elbow on the outside of the thigh, came out with that toe. Yeah, I could see how that could happen very easily. A little stress on the knee. But what's fortunate there is just not giving up the takedown points. And with the coming back to the neutral position is obviously, oh yeah, they're going to go ahead because he
and there was a team point taken away from Iowa.
Intentional release there. So RBY had his choice because of the injury timeout right there, and then he took down, and then the intentional release by DeSanto. Interesting to me, Tim, is look at the left arm, how he puts it behind his back. He doesn't want DeSanto, right, to be able to control his left arm. And so it's going to challenge there, right there. You can see how that challenged DeSanto into maybe moving off of that and kind of came out, and then RBY just drove right through him. Really well done.
Great motion by RBY. He's really slick. Nice level change there with that attack. Success for 2 points.
Well, just the straight drive through at the angle that he had. He caught him maybe moving out of the position. So now he's limping a little bit noticeably here. DeSanto is. Huge change of events. I mean, this is definitely a match that felt that Iowa would be favored in because of the two past meetings and the physical nature. But when you're hurt out there, it's certainly going to change a lot of that. Wow. Bravo Young doing a nice job with that front trip.
Action coming back, so and you can tell that DeSanto's knee is certainly bothering him from it popping when RBY popped the cradle onto him, and they stopped it in the first period.
Well, it's bothering him on the way back to the center. I think he's wrestling pretty hard in the bottom position.
Hey, stay set, you're fine. You're fine, son. You're fine.
So he's got full flexibility of it now. I mean, you see with his rear end's going back all the way to his heels. Good job of control there by Bravo Young. Now notice how he's scooping that near leg out and he's extending it. Add to that a little wrist ride right there. It's easy to buy a little riding time, already up to 40 seconds. Scooping. Notice how he's scooping and widening the base. Comes and picks the far ankle. Right. Now he takes him up.
And he's getting the count down low below the hips.
But he's moved up off of it.
Right, but he does get the stall call. So the official is warning for stalling Roman Bravo Young for staying below the hips on 5 counts.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because he was clearly out by up above the waist by the time he called that, and that's what the Penn State bench is talking to Kurt Frost about, the second official. He's clearly doing a lot of waving out there to get Bravo Young up off the legs there. Riding time at 1:01.
RBY certainly no stranger to big dual wins, with his big win over Ohio State's Luke Pletcher in the first match last year.
Back in on a shot is DeSanto after the escape.
Yep, escape, 1 point for DeSanto. Back in on that leg.
Now he attacks it. He's got the cradle locked up again. He's behind the leg right there. One more time, he should be able to. They're clearly stopping this without the back points.
Wow, that's you said inexplicable, and so he can't go anymore.
Yeah, he can't go anymore. Yeah, that's why. There's the stoppage there.
And the stoppage is 6 points. That's
huge.
A medical forfeit there.
Tell you what, when Dan Gable said something about wrestling, when he says something totally like he said in our little pre-meet talk right there, he said something unexpected is going to happen in this meet. That's exactly what happened right here. Wow.
Well, Iowa gets out to a big start with Spencer Lee, a technical fall. They went out 5-0, but they lost a team point. And with the medical forfeit default, there's 6-4 Penn State. Wrestling on BTN is brought to you by Cliff Keen Athletic. Wrestle with the best. And by State Farm. Talk to an agent today. Well, some turn of events. And Penn State leads 6-4 after 2 matches at 125-133. Now we're ready for 141. Nick Lee having himself a great year. Number 2 ranked, 12-0, going up against Carter Happel, stepping in for Max Buren, the regular, at 141. And so 6-4, injury default because DeSanto got hurt and didn't have any injury time left, and so had to give up an injury default. And Spencer Lee started out with a technical fall, but a point taken away against the team. 6-4, and now a quick takedown for Nick Lee at 141.
And that's just a silencer for this crowd. Nick Lee with the early takedown. Of course, Carter Happel filling in for Max Buren. But how about that last sequence? DeSanto had let the official know that he was hurt in the first exchange there off of the cradle, and then came right back to the same technique, basically, Roman Bravo Young did on the counter. And he screamed out again, and that's when the referee, Matt Sorchinski, stopped it, and that's the right call. So just a huge, shocking turn of events. Now Nick Lee on his offense, and he's a guy that's hunting for team points in this situation, too. Great candidate for a major here. Switches off to his high crotch to a double. We'll see if he can add any back points to that.
Nick Lee out of Evansville, Indiana. Won a state championship in Indiana for Mater Dei High School. And then he took off his senior year, was homeschooled, and focused on freestyle. Twice he's been 5th in the NCAAs, an All-American as a freshman.
Wow.
And as a sophomore.
Locked up near cradle again, and Apple's going to try
and it's locked up.
Fight it off here. He's going to step behind it. We'll see if he can go ahead and do it. If he gets he's got that's tight. That's it. That looked like it was rocked back and forth on that near cradle there. If he can step back aside and get his chest up over that by the shoulders, he can follow it up. Happel, there he does right there. This is going to be tough to stay out of, but Happel somehow does.
Happel fights out of it. Carter Happel out of Lisbon, a 4-time state champion in Iowa, a junior. Dad Dean wrestled for Iowa, and he finds himself behind Nick Lee 8-1.
Now another stall warning from the bottom position here. Way
Yeah, Lee, he just keeps coming, Jim.
Yeah, I like his shots. I mean, that first shot he hit there, that head to the outside shot, switched to a double. He's also can attack both sides of the body, but he's got it on also a head to the inside shot to that right leg as well. So, and you know, where he impressed me last year was just his good heavy hips defense. When the guy gets in with a shot on him, he can really wear you out. Tough in the top position,
yeah,
rides on the right-hand side.
He really is tenacious on top.
But I think if he's going to look for a fall in this situation, maybe go from the feet to the back, but with short time, that's out of the question.
Takedowns, locked up a cradle, 4-point near fall. And that's the end of the first period. Nick Lee out in front 8-1. And Cale Sanderson, winner of the last 2 times he's brought the Nittany Lions into Carver Hawkeye. Can't be too upset about the start here. 6-4 lead after 2 matches, and Nick Lee working on a major at least.
Yeah, and you can see where DeSanto in that previous match there was, you can see where that knee got maybe extended, particularly with that toe getting out of a position. And so, you know, there was no reason to basically stay in that. Really didn't have much choice there when he screamed out of that position the second time, so that no injury timeout. But that's could have been what you consider almost a 9-point swing, because DeSanto was heavily favored.
I think that's a good call, Jim. It is a 9-point swing in as they
nice look at that shot, switches off to a double.
Yeah, Nick Lee continuing to work. He had an impressive win last week against Chad Red, a 9-1 major decision.
Yeah, you guys called that. It was I got to take a look at that this morning, and it was just, you know, picked apart a really quality opponent. I think, you know, that was a 2-point match with the Huskers, and we know the Huskers have a pretty decent dual meet team. But coming all the way out to Nebraska a week ahead of time has helped, I think would help the Nittany Lions in this situation, coming back out to Iowa, kind of repeating the same process, duel on Friday.
Yep, they come out from a rec hall, making a haul out to Nebraska and Iowa, hoping to wreck 15,500 Iowa fans' spirits, and so far they've made it quieter than the Hawkeye fans would like after that injury default win for RBY and a lead, and Lee working on a major decision and maybe more.
Well, he's looking for that cradle, right? Looking for a big move right there. He's collecting the points, but also looking for something that will take his opponent to the back. Knocks him down flat, 13-3 already. And Lee will likely take the down position. Has 3 minutes of riding time. Everything working his way.
Yeah, head on the mat for Happel, just trying to survive down there.
A lot of talk about Jaden Ironman coming out of his Olympic red shirt at 141 with the injury to Max Murin. And you could make a strong case for that happening here with Iowa's pursuit of the team title, and particularly if Murin is hurt.
Jaden Ironman, transfer from Missouri, a 3-time All-American. He's been 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Taken an Olympic red shirt, but he hasn't qualified for the trials yet, and one of the qualifiers is winning the NCAA tournament, so that would make some sense, being on a championship team.
And qualifying for the Olympic trials by winning an NCAA championship. And speaking of those trials, the entire USA Wrestling national freestyle team is having a viewing party at the Olympic Training Center. Bill Zadig, Joe Russell, and the boys watching this big meet. Shout out to those guys. And what a...
And like that duck under they just saw would work there, but this is a position where he's pushed the head down a little bit, maybe get out the front, coming right back. You see, collect that bottom leg, maybe get to a Turk, bottom leg Turk.
Lee taking care of business here. A little more than a minute left in the 3rd period. 14 points. All he needs is 1 takedown. And that's it. And that'll be a tech fall. We've had a tech fall, an injury default, and a tech fall in the first 3 matches. 5 more points on the board for Penn State. 11-4. 11-4. Penn State leads after 3. And at 133 pounds, if you're just joining us, here's what happened.
Yeah, here's the swing points of the match. The match was stopped in this position here. The knee was hurt. That's the first one. And this time, right, you can see he screamed out of it the second time. Is just having a difficult time with that. And we talk about in these big meets, it's always the swing points, and that's a 9-point swing.
And we're ready for 149 pounds. It'll be Pat Lugo, the senior, ranked number 3, going up against Jared Verclaren, the sophomore. Verclaren 12-3, Lugo 13-1. He called his only loss last week.
Yeah, an exciting
Sasso.
match with Sammy Sasso from Ohio State, where Lugo was really pretty much taking a lot of the shots in the match, but just was not able to go ahead and finish. You know, I think this is a matchup for Lugo that probably works a little bit more in his favor. He likes to shoot to that lead leg. He'll work heavy off that underhook. Clearing a lot of international experience coming out of high school. Pretty heavy right leg lead.
Yeah, for Verclaren, an interesting story. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes as a 4-year-old, and it actually impacts your speed, your coordination, and, you know, adrenaline can spike your blood sugar levels, and it affects you.
Yeah, there's a shot to that lead leg just talked about here coming out the back door. Little ankle tuggage right there going on by Verclaren. He's able to go ahead and kick Lugo to his rear end. Now he may have the advantage. Now he's jumping back on the scramble. Nice job by both guys.
Both guys scrambling, and there are no points at all.
That's the type of action we'd like to see in that weight class here. Now Lugo working with the double underhooks, and looks like Verclaren is comfortable with those double overs. See if this results in anything big.
Verclaren usually has real close matches, 1-2 point matches, or he gets pinned. Last week he got pinned. He had been pinned another time, but usually very close matches. Lugo out of Homestead, Florida, transfer from Edinburgh, was an All-American last year for the Hawks.
Yeah, there we go with the Lugo with the head down. He's got the cradle, well, no, he didn't the cradle locked up. He's got the head stuff. Verclaren doing a nice job. They're going to try to finish it like he's in the middle.
And the cutoff to the double.
Yeah, and just for that split second, Verclaren tried to almost kick out and go out of bounds, and he sacrificed a pretty decent position defensively there. When you do that, it's just too tempting to kind of kick out of it. Lugo, very patient on his finish, collects the 2.
Verclaren overcoming that diabetes, a redshirt sophomore, tough kid, Greensburg, Pennsylvania, from Hempfield High School, was a state champion. Got tough duty tonight. Lugo trying to get the Hawkeyes back on track here after 2 losses. Penn State out in front, 11-4 after 3 matches.
Yeah, you rarely see Lugo kind of push into a guy too much, you know, even with his lifts and certainly on his finishes. Feels like he can get rolled through. He'll just hang back and cover those hips. He does that really well from the top position, and he covers hips really well when he's trying to finish his leg attacks.
Nice pressure by Lugo there, out on his toes.
Got the hand split, but he wasn't able to go ahead and collect the 2-on-1, and another beautiful mat return by Lugo.
Yeah, whether you're in Rec Hall or Carver Hawkeye Arena, it doesn't, the fans don't wait until you get your hand raised to get off their feet and excited. They get excited about great mat returns like that, Jim.
Yeah.
Fans looking for something, and they're coming to their feet here. Carver Hawkeye excited, cheering on there. Lugo out in front, 2-0. They're up, they're down, and they understand the tough ride that Lugo's giving, riding out to the end of the period. It's big in this first period. Take down and riding until the end. 2-0 with a minute 28 riding time.
We'll take a look at that first takedown. Notice how he's stuffing the head. Picks up at the ankle right there. And now he's trying to move up to a cradle as Verclaren steps into it, tries to square his hips. It's right here where he tried to basically get to the edge of the mat. I thought he sacrificed his good position that he had to defend it. And sometimes in tight situations like this, you've got to go ahead and defend like you're in the middle of the mat at all times, even though you're close to the edge. Good quick escape.
Lugo trying to get the Hawks back into this after a big win and then an injury default, which gave Penn State 6 points for the injury default in a match that they were favored. 9-point swing instead of 3 points for Iowa, 6 points for Penn State. Instead of 5 for that tech fall for Spencer Lee, during that injury time, the bench got dinged and the team got a point taken away. Then the tech fall at 141, and that's why we sit here 11-4, Penn State out front.
Real critical time in the match there for Lugo. You just can't try to get stall warnings in this situation. You got to go ahead and hit the techniques it takes to get the major. So you're battling for a team point right now, and gets another one here by the going out call. Nat Soroczynski's on Verclair pretty hard here. 2 quick stall warnings. That's a point. That's the first time we've heard a Lugo chant.
That's right.
Carver.
And they're looking for something here to get it going. Penn State quieting the crowd with those wins at 33 and 41.
See, I think that shot to the lead leg is there all day if he decides to go for it. See how he's pushing in, and McLaren is really not pushing back, so now he's a little bit better job. Now you got the double underhook. McLaren clearly tying him up here. Nice job of McLaren basically peeling out of that underhook with his right arm, getting that elbow posted inside or just dropped inside. You know, for all the momentum that Lugo had, is really pretty decent answer by McLaren.
Lugo out front to the appreciation of his parents, Patricio and Julie. There they are.
Well, Patricio has got some guns.
Yes, sir. And
he's a strong man.
He likes what he sees so far, and they got the matching left arms there. Patricio Lugo, ranked number 3, and throwing a shutout right now against Verclaren, 4-0. We're getting ready for the 3rd period.
Giving the clock set back to 2 minutes, period. You know, I think this is just you got riding time. You know, escape, maybe 2 takedowns right here.
Verclaren has not been able to get to Lugo's feet when he's on his feet, and so Lugo's ride here, you're right, he's got riding time.
Yeah, so you've got riding time, you've got 145, you're battling over a team point, you're comfortably ahead with a 5-0 lead. You know, even if you give up the escape, right, get that takedown, that takes it to 6, and then a takedown or ride out, you get the major. You've got to be thinking about these things at tournament time.
I think you're right, Jim. I think that if Pat Lugo is going to be in there contending for a national champion, he's got to be able to close like you're talking about, scoring points.
Scoring points for his team, all right? Bonus points. You've got to be thinking about bonus points, and that's why right there, duck under attempt there. First real shot for McLaren. Now there's another one. Comes back up to it.
Pat Lugo out, effectively out now, 5-1. With that riding time, stalling on Verclaren. And so that's 1 point.
Yep. So takedown makes it 7-1. Right there, gets back into it. Nice job by Verclaren getting to the far ankle. Has both ankles set up right there, and referee calls potentially dangerous, but knees out of position.
They'll go back to their feet. 5-1 on the board with that riding time point that Lugo is going to get. It's a 5-point lead.
Yeah, McLaren very comfortable with those double overs. Now he comes back into a shot of his own.
Gets the leg.
Gets the crack down there on that high crotch. Lugo turning the corner on. He's got the leg hooked. Almost. It's certainly a clock burner here, so in that battle for a team point, looks like McLaren's going to win it.
Yeah, sticks his leg, his head under there.
And a good match, though, by Lugo after the coming back after getting beat by Sasso last week.
Workmanlike, as you said, back from a tough loss last week against Sasso, against Ohio State. He gives the Hawks 3 points on the board, 11 now to 7. Pat Lugo, the winner by decision. Hawkeye fans back on their feet, and the Hawks creep a little closer. 11 to 7, and Nick Lee had a big win at 141. Tech fall. Pat Lugo gets the Hawks creeping closer with a win. We'll be back for 157 pounds. Back at Carver Hawkeye, sold out Carver Hawkeye for the number 1, number 2 matchup. The number 1 Hawks trailing the number 2 Nittany Lions 11 to 7. That's a look at Caleb Young. He's next at 157 pounds, having himself a great year. He's ranked number 4, 11 and 2, going up against Bo Pfeiffer, who's been standing in at 157. They hope to have Brady Berge in there earlier in the year. He had a bad head injury in an international competition and hasn't been back since. So Bo Pfeiffer's been stepping in, doing a yeoman's job, and he goes up against the favored Caleb Young now at 157. Yeah. Hawkeyes trailing 11 to 7.
Big bonus point situation possibly for the Hawkeyes here, and they're probably looking to be, everybody in this audience probably looking a little bit shocked by the team score right now, but a lot of this meat is left. But Bo Pfeiffer, maybe go out there just like McLaren did and battle all the way through. Caleb Young is not necessarily known as a guy who puts up a lot of majors and tech balls or anything like that, but he's really technically sound and tough to beat.
Pfeiffer from Colorado, a 3-time state champion. He's a veteran leader in the lineup. He's had a tough assignment stepping in there for the Nittany Lions. Caleb Young out of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, where Punxsutawney Phil is going to have, he's going to be a star on Super Bowl Sunday, I think, Groundhog Day.
It's Super Groundhog Day.
Super Groundhog Day. If he sees his shadow, there'll be 6 more weeks of winter, and if he doesn't, spring's coming early. Everybody roots for that. Redshirt junior. Caleb Young, 1 of 5 PA.
Straight on double.
High school guys in the Iowa lineup.
Yeah, straight double there by Young, and they don't want to get tied up too much in these positions. Try to hit something clean. Take your opponent to the back, and like we've seen the other guys be able to do, like Nick Lee, Spencer Lee. Roman Bravo Young with those cradles. I mean, look, that's one thing that Penn State's been able to do over the years, is that they're looking for that takedown on their defense. They're looking for that cradle on their defense, and also looking for it right off of the shot, and also their takedown and let up. When they're trying to add to the lead, they're always looking for that knee coming close to the head. They're attacking it.
Pfeiffer was stepping in for an injured Nolf 2 years ago in the duel, and he lost to Kemmerer 14-4 at 157. Of course, Michael Kemmerer moving up 2 weights. He'll be at 174 tonight.
Now look at see that double collar tie right there. That's a position I think that a lot of people have to start looking at here, what's really happening here. So he's blocking out. He's got the fingers clasped over the collar. He's got both elbows hanging down. It's really not an offensive position. A little touch and go there by Young.
Nice job of finding the angle. Now he needs
really good finisher too. He does a great job. See how he got that foot, as he was shelving it. I don't know if he quite got a shelf, but he was able to go ahead, get it up high, and then drive through.
Yeah, he does a nice job, Caleb Young, of finding the angles, the openings, and is able to get in on that single, cut across, get the takedown for 2.
And to your point, I mean, his finishes, he's a 90% type finish guy, and he gets in on the leg. Sometimes he takes his time, other times he kind of hits it clean, but rarely does he miss on his opportunities when he gets on the leg. No 20 seconds left.
Matt Shorshinsky, the head official, Kurt Frost, Side official.
1, 2.
A little count there for Caleb Young for being below the hip, but it only lasted 2. And so time runs down. It was a takedown and a ride out for Caleb Young.
Let's take a look at this replay on this finish where he shelves the ankle up there pretty high. See how he's got that above his thigh right there? That's what we call shelving. And then he gets his shoelaces up and drives through the man, all right? Drives through, comes around the waist. Really well done. Caleb Young, a good single leg finisher.
3, 4, 5.
And this is Sorochinski gives an count on the ankle, and then Bo Piper gets called for stalling. It's the Penn State.
Basically, the angle that he was on that ankle, below the hip there.
Yeah, if he's on the ankle right there, now he turns in. That's what I like to see right there. He's turning into that pressure.
Nice job by Caleb Young. He gets 2 more points for the reversal. And you made the point earlier, I mean, Caleb Young working on a major decision here and keeping the pressure on Bo Piper. Out in front 4-0 with a lot of riding time.
Yeah, in your Iowa corner, you're looking to keeping them down. That's one thing I noticed in these big meets, Ohio State meet, the Nebraska meet. Iowa really working hard in the top position to keep control of the match.
You saw in the background there, we talked about Spencer Lee. He's got his hoodie on. He's back there cheering on his teammates.
Yeah, they don't take the bench. They're on their feet right behind that bench. They're talking to their coaches. And let's take a look at this. What I loved about this, he looked how he looks into his opponent right here. Look in, okay? Drive back, and then he catches him flopping over the top right there. A lot of people think you have to go always up and away, or sit out and away, all right? A lot of times you just do that short little move into him, just look into him right there, catch a quick escape.
There's already been a stall warning on Bo Piper. The fans obviously wanting more. They don't think that Piper's doing enough, and now they call stalling on Caleb Young.
This is getting confusing.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing about stalling is that this is just an observation, is that it's become real mechanical, all right? You got the 5 count, you can go. Sometimes you just know it when you see it, and I'd like to see more stalling called when you just know it.
Tight waist, crab. There, a lot of pressure by Caleb Young, a lot of riding time, and
nice job of collecting that near wrist there for Young. Now he comes back into a tight spiral ride right there.
No points at the end of the second period. 4-0, riding time 2:22. There's Spencer Lee, head cheerleader, after the tech fall at 125.
Okay, so once again, you got that 5-point lead with riding time. You know, escape here, takedown, another escape, right? Another takedown. It's basically a 4-2.
And when do you start doing that, Jim?
Right, you know, probably right now, because you see Ryan Morningstar over there next to Tom Brands. He's looking for the escape.
I think that that was his opportunity, but
you know, battling for that team point. So sometimes in these big meets, you can just get so comfortable with the thought of, hey, I'm gonna beat a guy in front of a large crowd here, but maybe it could have been more. Now you've got Piper looking at coming out the back door here, possibly keeping the action going, and you're not losing anything.
Heavy favorite, Caleb Young, and it would, if Piper can keep it a regular decision, it certainly would be according to the plan for Penn State.
Yeah. Now you kind of got to stay with the strategy of, you know, staying in the top position, and just when I say that.
So the escape for Bo Piper there, given by Caleb Young. He's got to go to work. He needs a couple of takedowns, either a takedown to the back or a couple of takedowns to get this.
Or a stall warning, something like that, then would really add to the lead.
Dominant performance so far. Workmanlike by Caleb Young for the Hawkeyes, but
And Piper's really kind of stayed in the
just
middle.
stayed in the center. You're exactly right, Jim. Presented himself, not gotten himself in danger. Short time here in regulation, in the third period.
Well, Tim, you could have gotten long odds, right, that Penn State would be leading this match after 5. So this is...
We're working into the end of the 5th match and going into halftime, and they're stalling. That'll be 1 point for Caleb Young, but it'll still be, with riding time, 6-1. That's the match, 6-1, 3 more points on the board for the Hawkeyes. And you're right, Jim, we're going to go into halftime with Penn State leading 11-10. So number 2 leads number 1, going into a very intriguing 5 matches ahead of us, Jim.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't go away. Just grab something cold to drink and come on back.
Caleb Young wins by decision. Penn State leads Iowa 11-10 at a sold-out Carver Hawkeye. But we've got 5 big matches to go. Wrestling on BTN. Back at sold-out Carver Hawkeye Arena, where number 2 Penn State Nittany Lions lead the number 1 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes 11-10. And the way they did it is 2 big wins, an injury default at 133, Jim, and then a tech fall by Nick Lee at 141.
Yeah, and also, I was able to get the big match there, but, this was the bout right here. Look how Bravo Young basically took that knee out from the mid-instep to the toe area there, all right? Then he was able to go ahead and get the same technique again, and when DeSandro screamed out a second time, he didn't have an injury timeout, and that was the match. So huge, potentially 9-point swing, and then Nick Lee followed it up here with a lot of good technique here. Actually got a tech fall in that situation, so the 6-point move at 133, the 5 points collected at 141. They got 11, and then you've got Spencer Lee.
And the crowd is back in it. They're coming to their feet. It's the Perler feature match. Our feature match is brought to you by Perler, Vincenzo Joseph, Alex Marinelli. Here we go, Jim.
Boy, that was really a nice job. A lot of people don't get out of that outside single attempt there by... Now, look at Marinelli forcing the double unders right there. That's dangerous against a guy like Joseph, but boy, that first sequence there where Marinelli was able to get in on his head to the outside shot. Normally he's about 100% on that one, and Joseph with the strong hips. I was watching something he did against Isaiah White late in that match against Nebraska last week. It was phenomenal. Just his hips just must be incredibly heavy right there. Now he drives back in and off of a shot by Marinelli. This is good action here by both guys.
Top 2 165-pounders. Vincenzo Joseph, a 2-time NCAA champion, the only Penn State wrestler to ever win as a freshman and a sophomore. Then last year's a junior. Micaiah Lewis, a freshman himself, got the win over Joseph, a 3-time finalist.
And a win over Marinelli in the quarters, who was the number 1 seed at the time.
And Alex Marinelli, a 2-time All-American, but has not had the championships that Joseph has had. The Bull, Alex Marinelli, out of St. Paris Graham High School, 4-time state champion in Ohio. Joseph, a redshirt senior, 2-time NCAA champion, as I said, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Central Catholic High School.
Yeah, I tell you what, so far, this has been the change in Joseph this year. He's hunting and pecking more. He's taking territory a lot more, even doing it in this match against Marinelli, blocking him off. And a lot of, Marinelli, one of the best that there is on getting to his leg shot here and keeping his balance, but the hips of Joseph are just doing nothing but coming forward, and it's taking Marinelli out of his game so far.
Marinelli, a redshirt junior, has never lost a Big Ten duel or ever at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Gets to the leg. Again, the heavy hips and legs of Joseph. Slugging it out there with the double under, trying to get a little bit better angle. He's got his head in the ear right there. And this is the situation here where both these guys have been schooled on in an inside trip position. This time, Joseph having a little bit more respect for Marinelli's ability in that. He's been schooled on it a couple times, but as we said in the open, it's where these guys are like to live. Crowd trying to get involved here with the mat push out call. Short time. Now let's take a look at this action here. Bear hug, inside trip. Looks like Marinelli wants to bring his hips in a little bit further, but Joseph really dangerous in this position. Didn't quite feel it.
Mariah, Alex Marinelli's wife, and also the director of operations for the Hawkeye wrestling team.
Important sequence here, Tim, is important for Joseph just to get a few shekels of riding time. Right
and
there.
a quick escape for Alex Marinelli, who is 2-0 in their career against Joseph, who's won 2 NCAA titles, but has never beaten Alex Marinelli. They wrestled in a duel 2 years ago and in the finals of the Big Ten.
That front headlock, Tim, was really tight. All right, look for him to maybe come back and attack the leg with the knee pad on, coming across here. But Joseph stalking and moving forward this season. Much improved over last year, I believe. Yeah, he's really he's made Marinelli work off of those shots. Of course, Marinelli can go all day, and he's going to have to do that. There's the block in right there. Gets the arm around the waist. Now he's got that lock up. Boy, these guys love this position.
So familiar.
Yep. Oh, there you go. Yep.
Boom.
Marinelli forced it that time with a step around, and this is incredibly tight. See if he moves back to a headlock. Nope.
4-point near fall.
Blood timeout.
Blood timeout. And it's not an injury timeout, but that's a 2-point takedown, 4-point near fall, 6-point move by Joseph.
Well, Joseph has won 2 national championships in this position. It's over another, against Isaiah Martinez with that inside trip.
He has such tremendous feel, Joseph.
Yeah, let's take a look at this beautiful takedown. Mark Hall was admiring it there. The step around right there, and just waited for him and just went with the lateral drop right there. Just beautifully executed. It was really kind of, instead of going for the inside trip like he had normally done, he showed in our open, and he just went with the lateral.
Feel. Yeah, he went with the feel
yeah.
And lateral drop,
great
and it just
adjustment.
showed you, you said the word there, adjustment.
Yeah, great adjustment there when he ended up, not trying to drive back over the inside trip, but going with that lateral. But I think what was impressive to me was just the hand fighting that Joseph was doing early, that work with the front headlock, really making Marinelli, work with his head-hands defense. And
Vincenzo Joseph
looks very fresh out there, too.
Yes, he does. He's looking for his 3rd NCAA title this year. Micaiah Lewis, who beat him last year, is taking an Olympic redshirt year. Joseph ranked #1, out in front now 6-1. Alex Marinelli, 37 seconds in the second period.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to he escaped. You can get that right here. Really critical. Joseph stretching him out. He's really solid in top position. He's got Marinelli's head down. Grabs the cross wrist ride. He came over the top of the arm to get it. Drives that point of that shoulder. When you get that cross wrist right there, do exactly what he's doing there. Either bring it up into the armpit or around the neck and really drive the point of the shoulder down. Get your shoelaces up and drive them across. And that's a great way to ride a real tough guy underneath. Now, sub that. Yep. Right. Marinelli coming hard. Oh, he gets it. Right at the end. Should be a reversal. So we'll have a good look at this, I'm sure.
You hear at least the crowd going.
Yeah, it'll be a reversal. No question. I don't believe there's any back points right there.
They'll sync it up with the clock. The officials are taking a look at it.
Yeah, let's take a look at this situation. Remember, Marinelli is down, and he does what we talked about there. You see, he kind of peeks back up into the technique as opposed to going away. Now he's back in here. No change right there.
That's
and
two.
I think that's clearly a reversal. Yeah.
Man, these guys go after it, Jim. No fear.
Well, let's take a look at. We saw that this was an interesting sequence here, important sequence for Marinelli to get on the board here.
No. It's 2 points. Reversal. So there you go. The official announces it is 2 points reversal. So 6-3. We go to the third period, and Joseph will start down.
Well, I don't expect Marinelli to try to ride Joseph. There's not really much advantage of that, so probably get maybe a little hammer time on top, and then
Think
Joseph
about
get that. But if you're Marinelli in this situation, you got to go back up top. You need big points.
He's got to get rid of the riding time first.
Right. Yeah.
And it's only a minute, 2 seconds. Gets rid of the riding time, then he's going to let him go, I'm sure. Both these guys really good at executing when they're tired, Jim. And so we've got a minute 50 of big time potential explosive wrestling left.
Again, with 1:02, there's the quick escape right there. The riding time's been cut.
Minute and a half to go to work, down by 4 points. No riding time advantage. Vincenzo Joseph, the two-time NCAA champion, out in front, trying to get 3 more points on the board for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, and what Joseph has to stay away from is with the visual of Marinelli. You know, it's too early to shut down for him. He's got to be thinking about his shots. And for Marinelli, you know, down 4 here, riding time not a factor. You know, you may run out of, you can't do this on singletons.
And stalling, warning stalling on Joseph.
You got to work up top. There's an opportunity to come up top. Look how relaxed Joseph is with that right hand. I'm going to slide out of this thing and square up.
You hit it nail on the head there, Jim. Real relaxed.
So he's blocking out on the right-hand side right there, top of his head on that shoulder. He totally shut Marinelli. Now Marinelli's where he wants to be with that head on the left-hand side. The right
30
shoulder,
seconds left in regulation.
Right shoulder there. Marinelli driving with that underhook. The poise of Joseph is taken over.
Takedown 2 for Marinelli, makes it 7-5. Marinelli trying to get back points.
This front quarter, Nelson called potentially dangerous.
The call by the official, potentially dangerous. Back to the center. 6 seconds left. And the win for the two-time national champion, his first ever over Marinelli. 7-5. And 3 points on the board for Penn State. They go up front now, 14-10.
Take a look at the end of the second period where Marinelli brought himself back into that match right there after the big lateral drop.
End of the period. Didn't have the time to bring him back for back points. The period ended. And we go right into another big one right here where Iowa's Michael Kemmer, number 3, going up against the number 1 ranked Mark Hall. Both undefeated. And this may be we look back, this is a big, big match here, Jim. And Mark Hall, he knows what it's like to be on a big stage. But he also knows what it's like to be affected by Carver. He came his redshirt year, or his freshman year, took off the red shirt, came here and lost his first match ever against Alex Meyer, then went ahead and won an NCAA title. I think he's paid his Carver tax, probably.
Yeah, nice, beautiful duck under right there. Off the elbow tie by Hall. Really skilled wrestler. Now look at him come here with a big move. Oh, that's tight. Gonna lose
No
his grip on
points.
it. No points.
No points, and
Incredible.
Kemmer coming out the back.
He's going to get the 2
2 points. Takedown for Kemmer. And the brick is thrown in by the Penn State coaching. They think it should have been 2 points for Mark Hall, and the official obviously saw continuing motion.
Yeah, it'll
We'll
be
see.
interesting to see how this is called. Cale didn't have to do much explaining as to what he was after there. Nice job by Kemmer getting off of his back and continuing to roll through on that. But one of the things that, let's take a look at it. So this is like a headlock position. Okay, so he's on a double underhook here, and he steps all the way across like he's hitting a headlock, which is right there. And Kemmer gets his belt buckle to the mat. Yeah, no, that's going to be a tough one.
Yep, not overturned. And so it's 2-0. Kemmer out front, voids the big throw.
Look at him get his belt buckle to the mat right here. This position gets his feet out wide, and that's what controlled it.
Talk about big, great feel. Both of these guys have a great feel for the mat. And Kemmer out front now. Good rider on top of Mark Hall. National champion as a freshman. 3-time finalist.
Hall not able to find his hands on the way up. Now he comes back over. Now he's back in a tough situation. Ooh, wow, this is a reversal. Really putting a lot of pressure on that shoulder.
So the reversal, too, ties it up to the 2-2, and
Only a minute 7 gone in this match.
it
Some
seems like a
exciting positions.
lot more than 4 points being scored, Jim. All right, escape. Kemmer. Hall coming out on the attack right off the whistle.
Some big explosive actions early in this bout. The big double underhook and that throw by Hall, and then Kemmer fighting off his back, getting to neutral. Everybody's just exhaling a little bit here, Tim and Carver.
Penn State coming off a huge win with Chenzo Joseph over Alex Marinelli. 1-2 punch for both teams at 165 and 174. Penn State gets the first one.
Yeah.
They win at 165. Mark Hall and Kemmer are going at it right now. Less than a minute left in the first period. Michael Kemmer.
Looking for
Also
that duck under right there. Now he drops into a single leg. Hall does. Comes out side there. Notice how he's freeing his ankles out. He's got that right leg booted out right there. And now he's looking for control that bottom leg. He posted that hand on the right side. And Kemmer might be in trouble if he keeps on fighting this. That's, you want to move forward and just give up the takedown. Hall really tough in here. Now he's going to come around and collect a little riding time at the end of the period. And he does this as well as anybody in the country. He
he's a
hooks
great
that
rider.
leg,
Yes.
It breaks a lot of weight. Then Kemmer drives back into him.
For the reversal with short time, a reversal ride out would be huge for the Hawkeyes.
If you're a young wrestler watching this at home, you've seen this a couple times where that's how you beat that position. You look back into it and come up to a stand-up. Well done.
Great match going on first period. 6 seconds left. Kemmer comes on top. Ahead 5-4. Crab ride there to hold on for the end. And there's the end of the first period.
Take a look at the reversal here. Hall usually really solved this position, but look how he steps into it, right? Looks back into it and goes that way, taking an inside look, getting to his feet, afraid to get scrambled.
Mark Hall sets on the bottom. Apple Valley, Minnesota prep, a 6-time state champion in Minnesota, 7th through his senior year. Kemmer from the same hometown and high school as Spencer Lee, Murraysville, Pennsylvania, Franklin Regional High School.
And with with that 30 seconds of riding time for Kemmer. Now he drops in on a shot, not able to cut the corner. He's really going to have to battle that grip. Hall trying to slide his knee up above that shoulder, but Kemmer has a nice look at it.
All tied up. They go back to the center. They're neutral. Minute 25 left in the second period. Penn State leading Iowa 14-10 after 6 matches of 10.
Both guys able to get to their head to the outside shot. There it is right there. Switches off the double. He cuts it off.
I'll tell you, you wouldn't think that Kemmer would have been able to do that against Hall. Takedowns are huge for him. That's a huge takedown for Kemmer. Second one of the match for him. Escape by Hall.
Yeah, escape with 47 seconds of riding time.
It's a tough matchup, and Kemmer has gotten to the legs and finished.
Important sequence for Hall last 45 seconds. He's got to be looking for a takedown because Kemmer is likely going to go down. Third period. Right there, straight on shot. Good job of moving his hips in a circle. He's got a kind of a nice corner there. Actually, continue the action. He might be able to score. Kemmer is really reacting well and getting to his shot, and this crowd just recognizes it and feeding off of that energy.
Remember, Kemmer up 2 weight classes from the last time he was wrestling for the Hawks 2 years ago. Out with injury last year. Came up to 174. First time these guys have met. 7-6. Into the second period.
Let's take a look at Kemmer's takedown here. He's going to just drop his level. And look at him. Shoelaces flat. Getting around the outside right there. Cutting off to a double. Switching off to a double. Well done. It's tight. Brandon Sorensen bandana.
Sorensen strong in support of Brandon Sorensen, who's fighting cancer. Former 4-time All-American for the Hawkeyes. 8-6, that escape for the Hawkeye. There is no riding time advantage for either wrestler. Kemmer doing a nice job of staying in the center.
Holding position, and now he took a sweeping shot right there.
Who executes when they're tired? That's what's going to decide this, Jim.
Right there, the nice little ankle pick. Diving through. Kemmer is squaring up.
Wow. Wow.
But you notice, Tim, what he did there? He dove out of the position. Hall's not out of this yet. Squared up. Nice time to call a stalemate, maybe.
And
that's really robbing us of some action.
A minute.
Yeah, watch him dive out on this replay here, Tim. He gets shot, ankle pick, he dives out, but then he comes back and squares up. Wrestles like he's in the middle.
And that belt buckle to the mat that you were talking about, first period there, he's got a real good sense on the mat there. Both of these guys real slick.
It's all right to dive out like that, but then come back and face the music and counter it like you're in the center. Right there, all the way through, that's 2.
2 points, third takedown of the match for Kemmer. Head on the mat, Mark Hall.
This place is up for grabs.
If Kemmer rides this out, it's about as great an answer as the Hawkeyes could have had, Jim, for that coming off the loss with Marinelli getting defeated by Vincenzo Joseph, and now it looks like a ride out for win for Kemmer. Michael Kemmer, the winner over the national champion, Mark Hall. He gets the Hawkeyes back into it.
That's the way to beat a national champion here. You score and keep scoring. And the momentum is back.
The momentum's back for the Hawks. The Penn State Nittany Lions still lead 14-13. Back for 184 after this. Takedown of the meet is presented by Resolite. The best takedowns take place on a Resolite. And that's Michael Kemmer with that takedown, Jim.
Score and keep scoring. Score when you're tired. Execute. You get to celebrate beating a national champion.
184. Two freshmen. Aaron Brooks, ranked number 10, 7-1, going up against Abe Assad, ranked number 8, 19-3. Two freshmen could decide this whole thing, Jim. Abe Assad out of Glenbard North High School, Carroll Stream, Illinois. And Aaron Brooks from Hagerstown, Maryland, North Hagerstown High School.
You talk about momentum, and they come out with the, Assad comes out with the Iron Man song, okay? This is ready to go. You mentioned two freshmen could decide this. Actually, four freshmen. We've got two freshmen at heavyweight.
That's exactly right. Out of the next three matchups, two of them are all freshmen. So the freshmen will decide this number 1 versus number 2 meet between Iowa and Penn State. Only a second time these two teams have met as number 2 and number 1. Headlock by Abe Assad. And
He's gonna slip it.
2 points. Yeah. Kind of deja vu on the opposite from what Kemmer and Hall did.
Yeah.
So a headlock and 2 points for Aaron Brooks comes out of it.
Well, you know, this is a little bit different situation here because he was able to go ahead and the belt buckle was to the sky for a moment right there. So it'd be interesting to see what that reaction time call is. Normally when that left leg flips over like it did, that's immediately 2, all right, with some reaction time. Take a look at the replay on this. Yeah, big old head and arm. How about these guys going at it right there? Underhook right here. Watch the left foot. Does it come over? Right there, I think has been known to be 2.
Yeah,
now
when that left foot came over, you bet.
He's not going to call it that way, so 2 points, Nittany Lions.
Neither of these two freshmen afraid. They're stepping out there. They're fearless. Aaron Brooks goes out in front 2-0. National High School Wrestling Coaches Association Wrestler of the Year, Aaron Brooks was. He was a 4-time state champion in Maryland. Spent a year at the Olympic Training Center.
Nice job of hand fighting there. A good forward pressure on that ride front trip. You know, that's what I like both these guys. Boy, they're going to be fun to watch in the future. Nice little forward trip right there. Now he's able to get Assad on his nose.
Abe Assad, 2-time state champion in Illinois, was also a national junior freestyling Greco champion. Cadet world team bronze.
Little cat fighting on the hand fighting right there. Cat and mouse going on. Covering the fingers, gets the quick escape. Actually, not really quick. That's 51 seconds of riding time already. I get the feeling that's not going to be a factor in this match. These two young guys are going to try to light it up on the feet.
Both guys starting the year thinking they were going to redshirt. The red shirts pulled off, but both coaches felt that they would help them and their team accomplish what their team needed to accomplish this year. Both these teams obviously going for the national championship. Assad in, hip action by Brooks.
Dropped his hips really well on that position, just a straight on double. Now he's, like we saw with Joseph, he's got right into a single leg shot right there. He's got a better angle right there, but didn't quite feel it. You know, these guys are experiencing this for the first time, but they've had to, you know, it's been an exciting meet, ups and downs, big swings. Now Brooks in on a shot like that. The energy that these guys are coming out with in this environment here, you can get drained pretty easily, particularly in the late matches. You almost need to sequester your thoughts and yourself, get away from everything else to go out there and execute at a high level, but it'd be interesting to see what these guys have left, you know, almost emotionally, you know, in these matches.
20 seconds left in the first period, 2-1. Quick score. off a counter by Brooks.
Wow. It's coming up. Got an opportunity to score.
Big 12 seconds left.
Gets him off of his feet. Nice little cover right there by Brooks, and collects
2
the two
points
at the end of the period.
Under 4 seconds left. A big 2-point scored. Out in front 4-1 now.
Yeah, I tell you what, I love it when guys take their opponent up off the mat right there. Okay, now it's I'm going to land him out there. And Assad tries for a big roll through right there. It's just not there. You know, brings his hips to the party, covers well, 2-point takedown.
Good look at Aaron Brooks, highly touted recruit. A little bit more success in high school than Abe Assad did, but the recent months has seen Abe Assad have some really impressive wins and higher ranked than Aaron Brooks. But right now, Brooks out front, 4-1.
Yeah, he's got to be working on a quick escape. He did a nice job of covering fingers right there. Again, a little cat and mouse, a little Granby roll would probably work pretty well right here. He'd clear that leg out. You know, Brooks doing just enough right there to tie up those hands, and that's now it's worked out. He's got him to his belly. Things are improving. Cross wrist ride right there. It comes over to the 2-on-1. Again, everything that Assad has been doing early in this match, you got to go back to. An answering escape and a takedown would be huge for him. But, Brooks looks a lot like what Mark Hall has right there, where they scoop up that near leg right there, pretty heavy on the hands, coming to the far ankle, driving through, moving up off of it.
He lets it go for one. And so with 45 seconds left in the second period, it's 4-2, but the riding time over 2 minutes for Aaron Brooks.
Yeah. Assad gets on his own shot right now. Now roll through or spin around attempt there.
Nice reaction by Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks keeping his head up right here. He's got the far ankle. If he can go ahead and loosen that grip on his ankle, which he was working on, and kind of let it go.
There's the stalemate. They'll go to the feet. 21 seconds left. A big 21 seconds for Abe Assad here if he can score. There's Michael Kemmerer and Spencer Lee, two of the winners for the Hawkeyes tonight, cheering on their teammates.
It's just not going to be enough for Assad to get to the leg. He's got to get that second move almost immediately once he gets there. Not going to be enough to get to it.
End of the second period. 4-2 lead, riding time over 2 minutes for Aaron Brooks. And Brooks will begin the third period underneath.
Solid period for Brooks. He was able to go ahead, gave up the escape, but got at least another minute of riding time in that situation. So 2:07 does nothing for Assad trying to ride him in this situation. Brings the clock down a little bit, but he's got to do his work on the feet. Now he gives up a
and you've talked
reversal.
about this, Jim.
Yeah.
He didn't push him away.
Yeah. You know, in the rule book right now where you can give an intentional release, I just don't know why you wouldn't do that.
Reversal for Aaron Brooks there. A big 2 points for the Nittany Lion.
It just burns clock, and it's 15 seconds, but that's 15 seconds you'd like to have back at the end of the match.
The pressure going forward by Brooks, owning the middle of the mat.
Yeah, he's pushing Assad to the edge. Now he's blocking really well with his head, and with his freestyle experience, he doesn't get pushed off the mat very much, so he knows how to lower his center of gravity, work with the head, circle back out and back in to the center of the mat.
Comfortable lead right now, 6-3, riding time secured, so it's effectively a 4-point lead for the Lion.
And a 4-point lead, in the way this is being wrestled, is like a 7-point lead. Really comfortable now, snapping, straight on shot. Again, shoelaces flat, one and done right there. No second move.
Hip action by Aaron Brooks, fending off the shot, as you said, Jim, that was straight on.
Well, sometimes you've seen guys, when they hit that straight on shot, they switch off to a single, okay? The shot is the setup, okay? Shoot to set up a better finish. But you can't do that if you go shoelaces flat and you don't continue to drive into them. big win, big answering win for the Lions after the upset.
Back and forth, back and forth. This one pretty much a toss-up, and Penn State's going to come away with the win. They're going to put 3 more points on the board. That team point that was taken away by in that second matchup on the team of Hawkeyes looms big. It's 17 now to 3, and there's a win for Aaron Brooks, his first outing at Carver Hawkeye. He gets a big win for the Nittany Lions, and 197 now. If the Hawks are going to win this dual meet, they're going to have to win this weight class right here. Jacob Warner for the Hawkeyes, All-American, going against All-American Shakur Rashid. Rashid, an All-American 2 years ago at this weight class. Last year he went back to 184, did not All-American. Jacob Warner, as a freshman, All-American last year. Big matchup, big stage, big opportunity for both wrestlers.
No question about that, Timmy. You know, here Warner is Jacob Warner just coming off of a loss a couple weeks ago at Nebraska against Schultz, and ironically, last week the same man, Schultz, beat Shakur Rashid. Yeah. Shakur Rashid is a guy who was the #2 seed in the country at one time. I mean, had a fantastic season going his sophomore year. Beat out, I don't know if he beat out Anthony, but they made the decision to go with Shakur Rashid as opposed to Kassar. And but then had that knee injury here with the ACL. It answers a lot of questions, that injury does, is why he hasn't had the success. Just coming back from it, work in progress. Warner on the leg, he's pretty good at finishing here.
2 points for the Hawkeye, out front 2-0. You made a good point. Shakur Rashid coming back after 10 months off the mat. Had an ACL tear surgery after the season last year and just getting back, a little rusty. And Warner goes out, the Tolono, Illinois native, Washington High School, 3-time Illinois state champion, getting the takedown against Rashid from Coram, New York, Longwood High School. Both All-Americans at 197. Rashid 2 years ago. Last year, Warner got on the podium. And he's come out of the gate fast, Jim.
Yeah, it's important for Warner basically to stay tight with those hips right there. Good mat returns. Nice job. Making it difficult every time Rashid comes up to his feet. Take him off the mat or get it. That return. So let's take a look at this shot. Basically, he's able to go ahead and finish it. He's really good right in here. Chest up, right, follows right through, dove on top of those legs. Big finish.
Nittany Lions out in front, 17-13. If Warner gets a regular decision, it'll be 17-16, obviously. Then coming down to the 2 freshman heavyweights to decide this meet between #1 and #2. Yeah. Sold out, Carver Hawkeye, and Warner right now trying to get it done to keep the Hawkeyes in this.
And Rashid not having a difficult time getting to his feet, but once he does, Warner has really got a tight waist, and he, no separation, not allowing Shakur Rashid to separate his hips. They come up, they're tight right there, hips tight. A lot of times you see guys will hit a standing Granby from that. It looks like it's there, but may not be comfortable with that technique. What I'm saying there right there is maybe Rashid has tried standing switches and trying to hand fight right there. Now maybe adding a shoulder roll to that might get a quick escape. Now notice what Warner did right there. He changed sides. A lot of times you want to just do that just to change things up a little bit, slow the guy down. He's back on his strong side.
Warner doing a nice job, whether it's picking up or tripping forward, making several attempts, so he's not going to get the sole call, even though Rashid keeps coming up. The good action by Warner as he returns to the mat.
Yeah. It's a good point, though. The question is how long that the official's going to allow him just to go ahead and come up with the mat returns and not consider that stalling right there. There,
separated the hands.
After a minute 32 riding time built up by Warner, an early takedown and the riding time, back to their feet with 40 seconds left in the first period.
I think Warner really has pretty good defense.
Really excellent, you're right.
Holds leads well. Again, looking for points in that situation. And I think we've seen that 2 or 3 times here today where guys will get a little bit off balance, but the other guy's just pursuing and attacking. We saw that with the Kemmerer match. But continuing the attack, continue to move forward here when you have a slight offensive advantage.
.15 seconds left in the first period. Early takedown, ride out, escape, 2-1 in favor of Jacob Warner, the sophomore over the senior, Shakur Rashid.
Look, talking about strategy going into the next period. You know, with that 1:32 of riding time here, Warner doesn't necessarily have to go down.
And it'll be Shakur Rashid's choice, and he chooses down.
Yep, chooses down right there. It's going to add to the riding time, so. Didn't have to make that decision because he deferred.
No, he wanted to defer, but the coaches told him to choose down, and he chose down.
I think that's a good call here. You use your energy right now to get up real quickly. So, again, the 141 going into the third, Warner may not have to go down because he's got the riding time point. And Rashid has not been able to get to a leg yet.
Rashid getting comfortable back in the lineup, off the mat for almost a year. Things like reaction time, growing with each match.
Yeah, I keep on coming back to that strategy here because if Rashid was tough on top, he could basically ride out the third period. He doesn't give him the take, work ways away from that strategy, but still just tied and keeps Warner down. Take this to overtime that way.
Two to two. Minute 41 riding time for Warner, the Hawkeye. Will get his choice in the third period. Rashid started the second period down, got the escape.
So, again, not desperation time for Rashid to take the points if they're there.
We're at 197 pounds. Tim Johnson along with Jim Gibbons and the number 1 ranked Hawkeyes trailing number 2 Penn State 17-13. One more match after this. Iowa's got to win this match to stay in it.
See where Warner slowed down his attacks quite a bit. Now we're going to get to that decision. Does he choose to go down against a guy who's really tough in the top position?
End of the second period. And if Warner can keep this lead, there's Tony Cassiope, the freshman, number 4, and it could come down to him. Tony Cassiope out of Roscoe, Illinois, Hononegah High School. Could it all come down to him? Well, that's up to Warner, and he is taking down, Jim.
He's taken down. He looked over to his coaching staff. He actually told them, I'm going to take down.
And gets the escape.
Yep. The coaching staff was particularly Terry Brands was talking, keep your head up, all right? Did exactly that. And these are areas that, you're trying to come back from an injury. It sometimes can affect your top position riding because it takes a lot of energy and you got to be in really good condition to be able to put that wear and tear on the guy and he doesn't quite look like himself yet at this point in the season.
Like I said, I called him a little rusty. Still getting comfortable back in the lineup. When you're out 10 months, it takes its toll on things like reaction time, but growing with each match. But Warner right now wrestling a very strategic, smart match.
Right in the middle with that, everything's a little short, little arm drag right there. He's got a good hold of the collar.
And now he's going to be playing with house money a little bit with the riding time.
Correct, yeah, good call. Straight on double leg shot. Warner really heavy hips. Again, like we saw before, shoelaces flat.
And a takedown
there.
A takedown and ride out for Rashid would take it to overtime. He can't win it with just a takedown. The riding time locked in. It's 4-2 effectively. 3-2 on the board. One more point that will be given to Warner for riding time. And the Hawkeyes fans understand what's going on. If it stays here, if Warner wins, it's going to go down to heavyweight. 15 seconds left.
Several attacks right there, but Warner holding position.
Warner wins. Oh, baby. It comes down to heavyweight, giving Tony Cassioppi a chance to send this wild, sold-out Carver Hawkeye fans crazy. When we come back, it'll all be decided, number 1 and number 2, at heavyweight, wrestling on BTN. Wrestling on BTN is brought to you by Cliff Keen Athletic. Wrestle with the best. And brought to you by Defense Soap. Defend what you have built. It comes down to this, Jim. Down to heavyweight. Number 1, number 2. All being decided on the last match of the night. Heavyweight. Tony Cassioppi, redshirt freshman. Ranked number 3, undefeated. Seth Nevels, true freshman. 10-0. Ranked number 16. Seth Neville. Next Neville up, they say at Penn State. Nick Neville's his brother, the heavyweight for a couple of years, All-American. Tony Cassioppi out of Roscoe, Illinois. Onondaga High School, 2-time state champion. Seth Neville's out of Powerhouse, Clovis High School in Clovis, California, a 4-time state champion.
Neville's called into duty this year after the injury to Anthony Cassar, the returning national champion.
I said Nick Neville's, his brother was an All-American for Penn State. His brother AJ, a wrestler at Fresno State, and his older brother Zach wrestled for Stanford. Wrestling family.
And kind of heard some, a little bit of talk about Anthony Cassar maybe coming back into some limited action here.
He's working his way back on the mat, so whether he's out the whole season or not is unknown. And there's Cassioppi in on the single leg.
Nice job. He's going to go ahead. Oh, Neville does a nice job of bringing that shin whizzer down and putting a lot of weight on it. He's able to go ahead and do it. Now he's going to flip around. Can he collect both legs? Now he's in a situation to shelf the ankle. Treetop. We haven't seen the big man in this position yet. Nice job of keeping that ankle free. He whiffed on the, Neville's whiffed on the sweep.
The athleticism.
One more time.
Boy, the athleticism of both wrestlers, Jim.
Yeah. Now he's going to come back through. Oh, he didn't quite get out of it because he hasn't put the leg in yet. Wow, the big man's coming through on that. What a scrambler.
Wow. Great reaction by Neville, and then counter reaction by Cassioppi on top. Didn't allow an offensive point his last 2 years in high school. Cassioppi loves to pin, and here you hear the chants, Tony.
Match settling back down. Cassioppi has a pretty solid near wrist ride. Both guys work pretty hard in that position, but Cassioppi continuing to go ahead, tight waist. Cross wrist now.
Two-point takedown. Now stalling underneath on Seth Neville. His brother Nick got the win against Sam Stoll 2 years ago to seal the deal for Penn State's win 2 years ago, the last time these two met.
Nothing's really changed with these two guys. And near wrist right, Cassiope he can come out to the side with that. Keeps a lot of weight forward, a lot of pressure forward, circling around, but he's also kind of locked back in there in the crotch so he can get back pretty quickly and knock him off of his knees right there. Well done. Take a look at the takedown here by Cassiope. Let's start with a Neville spin here. He's able to go ahead with that shin whizzer. Felt Cassiope drop his head. Wasn't able to collect that far ankle. And now Cassiope, when Neville's almost all the way around, again, looks back into the pressure right there, looks back into the guy and gets another, almost felt like a reversal, but it ended up being the takedown because there's no takedown given, even though Neville's was covering.
So Neville's will choose. He got the choice, and he chooses neutral, does not choose to go underneath Cassiope. So 2-0, a minute 42, a riding time for Tony Cassiope.
It'll be interesting to see if Cassiope looks for that straight double shot he has. He's pretty good at getting a quick little angle and dropping in. See where Neville's can scramble. Comfortable lead. 2-0. 142 of riding time. You know, at one level you say that, well, they'll, you know, Neville's has to start taking some risk at some point in time. He's the guy behind with the dual meat on the line.
Less than a minute in the second period. We're at heavyweight. The Hawkeyes trail the Nittany Lions 17-16. A win by Tony Cassiope would give them 3 points and a 19-17 victory here in the #1 versus #2. If it wasn't for the 1-point deduction, team point against the Hawkeyes at 133, it would be 17-17.
Yeah, I think that was, if I had to guess, that team point was just a little bit about a coach just having a discussion. Now, why didn't you call that potentially dangerous? Because it felt like the knee was being taken out at that point, but it is what it is.
And it really has no effect on the outcome as we come down to here, because winner takes all. We go to the third period. Tony Cassiope says, I want to go down. I'm leading 2-0. He's got a minute 42. He says, I want to do it from the bottom. And so Seth Neville starts on top, puts the legs in.
What he wants to do is try to keep his head away from his knee here.
And there's the escape.
Gets the escape. Now it's really, this could be the ending takedown right there. Yep.
2 points. And Cassiope goes out front 5-0. The last time the Hawkeyes beat Penn State was February 8th, 2015, 5 years ago. Come into tonight's dual meet ranked #1. Hasn't had a close match. Penn State has been all in, Jim. Shown up here at Carver, and rare air when you get #1 versus #2, even rarer when they truly come down to the last match.
Well, they've had their opportunities. It was laid out there for them, and lost a tough one at 174. All the things that kind of lined up there for them, that was a tough match for them to lose. But I think that, let's face it, we needed to know whether, if this Iowa team stumbled in the future, Big Tens or Nationals, whether it would be a team that could pick up the slack and make it a race out of it. I think that that's been established in this dual meet. That Iowa needs to wrestle a complete tournament at the national level anyway, or else this team is going to be right there. So we learned a lot, and I think that we also learned that both these teams are going to be good for quite a while, because they've got some really exciting young guys in the lineup, including these heavyweights, the 84-pounders.
4 freshmen.
Yep.
Penn State, the winner of 8 out of the last 9 NCAA championships. Never count them out. They're stalling under bottom. 1 point for the Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes has had a decade-long drought.
Hawkeyes.
And the Hawkeyes fans feel it. They're going to get to celebrate a big victory and stay number 1. Tony Cassiope wins it by decision, and he wins it for his teammates. Hawkeyes win 19-17. And the outstanding wrestler, presented by Cliff Keen Athletic, is Tony Cassiope.
He did a great job there with that scramble. It was unbelievable. And it just kind of wore down his opponent, Neville's talented freshman. A great future here at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
I said rare air when it's 1 versus 2, and even rare when it gets down to the match. Jim, your thoughts about the meet?
Yeah, just like I said, I mean, we needed to have the question answered. Is Hawks going to just be able to run away with this thing? This duel was much closer. Of course, the big swing at 133 made a difference. But I think that Penn State has shown me that they separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Yeah, they're behind the 8 ball here a little bit, but they're not going to give this thing up easily, and Iowa's going to have to go up and put up Iowa-type points to win a national championship.
Tom Brands gets the win over Cale Sanderson, but will it happen at the Big Tens? Will it happen at the NCAA championships? We got a lot of wrestling ahead of us. That'll do it from Iowa City. For Jim Gibbons and our entire crew, I'm Tim Johnson. Stick around. The Big Show will recap all the action from Carver Hawkeye Arena next on the Big Ten Network.